the attention getter for your classroom. I'm so honored to spend time with you today. It's just my ultimate privilege, and I want to open up with prayer if we can. Dear Heavenly Father, I praise you, Jesus, for the work that you do through each one of these educators, how you have molded them and shaped them to be the life changers, the calm givers, the peace bringers to their students in their classroom. I ask that you come and be the connection for us today so that we can connect kids to you. In your name I pray. Amen. Amen. Well, I'm super excited that I'm really within 20 years of classroom teaching, and that kind of blows my mind. 20 years of classroom teaching, as well as a licensed school counselor and a licensed mental health counselor. And so my heart, right, I've worked in public schools, I've worked in private non-Adventist Christian schools, and yet my heart is with you Adventist educators. So my mission is to really bring mental health to our Adventist schools. And I've really been called out of the classroom, out of conference superintendency, out of counseling to a nonprofit agency within the last 2 years called Counsel-tation. And the whole purpose is to support you in your classrooms as you do social emotional literacy development and as we work together to bring mental health to your students. So go ahead, pull out those phones and take a link to this QR code so that you can see what some of the opportunities are for mental health in your schools. Counsel-tation is partnered with VersaCare Organization, which is a nonprofit, and they look to fund individual schools and whole conferences and entire unions in getting mental health for your classroom. Oh, you guys are getting out of it. Yeah. Okay. Next QR code will be good. Just kidding. So today I want to explore with you big emotions, right? Because we have students in our classroom that have these big feelings and big reactions and their big impacts. And so today we're going to look at 4 different components. Really the source. Where are those big feelings and those big reactions? Where are they coming from? And trauma's big impact on our students. Trauma is present and prevalent in our classroom. And then looking at the how-tos, the application, coping strategies for your classroom, and then you as life changers and coping strategies you all need for your classroom as well. So let's take a look at trauma's big presence. And I want you to think for a minute of a child in your classroom who has had big feelings, big emotions, big outbursts. And I would like for you to turn to a partner, take 1 minute, and I want you to share kind of what did that big emotion look like in the child, and then how did it impact the classroom. Ready? Tap.
Great job. So likely in your tap, turn to a partner conversations, you all talked about very unlovable ways that kids demonstrated their needs, right? And I love this quote from Toby Mac: the kids who need love the most will ask for it in the most unloving ways, right? We get that. We see that all the time. And how hard it is to love that child through that. So I want you to meet some of my students. These are real life students. Their names and pictures are changed, but these are real life within the last year of students that I have worked with in the school that I'm home based at. So check out Nathan. Nathan is a first grader. He is a perfectionist, and he is very, very intelligent. He aces all of his tests, all of his assignments. But if he, for whatever reason, isn't able to finish, let's say, an easy task or a game in class, he will have an absolute meltdown. Raise your hand if you can relate to this. Yeah. Big meltdown to the point that friends are coming over and saying, "Can I help you? What's wrong?" And he ends up sort of physically lashing out at them. He also does another behavior where he wants to be underneath something. That's really important to him. And so last year at a school-wide assembly, we were playing something called house games, and his house didn't win. And that threw him into, and it's not bad sportsmanship, there's some neurodivergency that is causing this reaction. And so in front of a whole school of 300 students, he had this reaction where he was throwing and kicking and wanted to climb under the pew. Okay, so that's Nathan. Meet Sarah Kate. Sarah Kate is a fourth grader. She's a very attention-seeking. So last year she would come into my office and just hang out, right? Like, I'm just here. No purpose, I'm just here, right? I'm actually missing class. My teacher doesn't know I'm gone. I'm just here, right? Yes. I saw her mom at the beginning of school about a week ago, and mom said, "Yeah, Sarah Kate has a bag of suckers to give you." And I said, "Really?" Because I'm usually the one handing out suckers from my candy jar. And she goes, "Yeah, Sarah came in and gathered dozens of suckers last year and then like compiled them in her backpack. So we're returning the suckers," right? So very attention seeking, needing. There's been some reports of maybe some things that are missing out of classrooms. So yeah, that's Sarah Kate. Here's Will. And these are real life students. Will is now a 7th grader, so he's moved into, in our school, there's a middle school component where they have real lockers and they transition to different classes. Will is really reactive when there's change, right? He shuts down. He does great on first day of school, but he does terribly when he comes back from Christmas break. He will sit in the lobby with mom for 3 hours. Mom's missing work. He's just won't talk to any other teachers, and mom ultimately is just winning by getting him to school. He, at one point, had a whole emotional shutdown where he wouldn't talk to anybody. And the teachers in my school, and I love this school, thought, "Oh, well, he's being disrespectful. We give demerits for disrespect." So landed him with 15 demerits. And did you think those demerits helped? Absolutely not, right? So these are real life kids. So I'd like you to take 1 minute. You're going to turn to a partner, and I want you to consider the symptoms of Nathan, Sarah Kate, and Will. We'll talk about what might be the underlying causes or traumas for their behaviors. And then with your partner, brainstorm ways that you would investigate the root cause and then possible strategies that you would use. Okay? Ready? Tap. My training was a little weak, but you are strong, so that's good. So these kids have real trauma injuries, don't they? And the beauty is that you, Adventist educators, can bring healing to some of their trauma. At your seat, you should have a Band-Aid sticky note. Your Band-Aid sticky note, and I would like you to write your name on the Band-Aid and your school. Let's do this. Your name and cell phone number. Let's do that. Name and cell phone number. And I'm going to pass around cups so that we can enter you in for 2 calming corner baskets. These are fully equipped calming corner baskets. So cups coming through, and I'm going to give you a minute to do that. So name and okay, so as we look at trauma, we want to be sure that we're recognizing it as an exceptional experience in which powerful and dangerous events overwhelm that student's ability to cope, right? When we're looking at a behavior, seeing that underlying cause of trauma will help us know how to support that student's behavior. So really, when we look at two different kinds of trauma, there's the significant impact, which is that initial impact on the brain development, on learning, on physical and mental health, on the child's social skills, and on the child's ability to express emotions. So that's its significant impact, and then there's the reaction-based impact. So this is when trauma is created by the child's response and interpretation of the event, which creates harmful impact and matters most, maybe not even the event itself, right? So we can say, hey, that wasn't a big deal, and that may not be a big deal to us, but it was an absolute big deal to that student. So you all are likely familiar, or at least have heard of ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences. And when we look at this, we know that it extends beyond these 6 that are identified. So usually we're looking for a child that's experienced drug abuse or divorce or death or homelessness or poverty or abuse, right? But there's others too. Foster care, I think about traumatic birth experiences, right? Where that's actually impacting their physicality and their brain. So really, statistically, 35 million of American-age students 0 to 18 are affected by adverse childhood experiences. So very quickly, I need volunteers to come up for an activity. So I need 3 blue volunteers. Come on up. You're just going to pop up. 3 blue volunteers. Pop up. Great. So as we think about our class size, I think about an average class size as being around 25, give or take. Is that kind of fair? One more is going to be my last blue. Katie, yes. Thank you, Katie. Good. Let's give our volunteers a round of applause. Okay. So in this classroom, and this is our average classroom, right? We have an average classroom filled with average, let's say, 5 and 6-year-olds. Out of those 5 and 6-year-olds, let's hear it from the blue team. So blue team, you are going to read symphonically in your best teacher voice. Are you ready? Okay. All right. On the count of 3. You're all blue. Yeah, you're all blue. Even if you're teal, you're blue. Okay? On the count of 3, you're going to read. Your card says the same thing. Read together. 1, 2, 3.
I am your student. I am part of the half of your class who have not experienced adverse childhood experiences. However, even though I don't have trauma to deal with, there is a high likelihood that I will still have other issues for which I'll need your support. I may be dealing with learning disabilities, depression, or anxiety that will mean I look to you to help me deal with mood swings, social issues, and how to provide academic accommodations to meet my needs. Your safe, supportive, and collaborative classroom is a haven for me.
Great job. Let's give blue team a round of applause. You guys can sit down. Give me your cards and you can sit down. Awesome. Okay, so half of your classroom, talk to me. Half of your classroom has what? No adverse, but what else might they have? They might have learning disabilities. They might have unstable home, right? Anxiety, all of these different things. Thank you. Okay, so that's half of your classroom. Let's talk about the yellow team. On the count of 3, you're going to read your card all together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I am your student. I am part of the 21% of your class who has experienced one adverse childhood experience. I am happy and well adjusted at school. However, my neighborhood friend consistently exposed himself to me during outdoor play last year. As a result, I have inappropriate behaviors and I am retaking second grade. I really want to please my teachers, but I struggle academically because my mind and feelings are confused. Your safe, supportive, and collaborative classroom is a haven for me.
Okay, true story. This is toward the end of last year, and this little boy came into the bathroom and was kind of inappropriate, as little boys can sometimes be. And it was a real opportunity actually to find out why he was inappropriate, because at home, mom has a new baby. She's not really invested in what's happening. And so his neighbor would come over, take him down to the basement. And so not only was there one trauma experience, but I was also thinking about that neighborhood boy who absolutely had learned behavior as well, right? Let's give our yellow team a round of applause. Good job, yellow. Okay, red team, are you ready? Let's see, do we have red? Orange, we're orange. Okay, ready, orange team, on the count of 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
I am your student. I am part of the 70% of your class who has experienced 2 adverse childhood experiences. Even though I'm only in 3rd grade, I've been through a lot. My older brother did bad things to me when I was little, but he thankfully moved away when my parents divorced. However, now he's back living in our house, and I'm scared he'll do it to me again. It's confusing that my mom has allowed him back into the house, but I guess that's because he's her kid too. Your safe, supportive, and collaborative classroom is a haven for me.
Great job. Let's give orange team a hand. Thank you. Thanks, guys. So again, another true story. And this could be triggering for you because you might be thinking back to some of your childhood experiences too. Whatever stage of life we're in, whether we're in elementary school or as adult professionals, we have to honor those traumas because they are real and they do have real impacts on us. Okay, ready, pink team? Here we go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I am your student. I am part of the 12% of your class who has experienced 3 or more adverse childhood experiences. Both my mom and dad are lifelong substance abusers, for which my father is currently incarcerated. I was a good kindergartner until recently when things drastically changed. I began intentionally soiling myself and wiping it on the school wall. After a counselor home visit, the school learned that my mom had begun renting me out to men for sexual favors in exchange for cash to fuel her drug habit. Your safe, supportive, and collaborative classroom is a haven for me.
Great job. Thank you, ladies, so much. Let's give them a round of applause. So I was an intern at a public school as the school counseling intern, and that was my experience, not even out of undergrad, actually. And it was quite something, really, to realize that we've got kids. He was 5, and I'll never forget doing a home visit and walking in and having the smell of feces just hit me. And he had actually you could almost watch a light switch happen from when Dad had come home from jail and all of his behavior escalated, right? And so looking for those signals that indicate some kind of change, right? We can almost sometimes chronologically identify when that trauma has happened based on when the behavior happens. But here's the beautiful thing. No matter what your students have gone through, there are protective factors that can be built around that student. And look at these and ask yourself, can my classroom be a protective factor? So can my classroom be nurturing and attachment for that child? Can my classroom give knowledge of parenting to that child's family? Can my classroom offer social connections and belonging? Can my classroom teach social and emotional competencies to that child? Can my classroom help teach families about parent resiliency? And then can my classroom actually give actual tools to families so they can start to be more wholesome? So again, Counsel-tation, and hopefully this QR code, but www.counsel-tation.com is designed to help you do all of those things. Let's hope the QR code works. If not, we're going to go to the website. Is it working? Okay, www.counsel-tation.com. It is the combination of counseling in a consultant model for you as educators, and it's specifically designed to support you in the classroom, the student in their desk, and parents at home. So here we're going to tap. We're going to turn to a partner, and I want you to tap and ask yourself, of those 6 ACEs protectors, of those 6, how does my personal teaching style and strengths best facilitate one of those 6? So there they are. Are you a nurturer and you bring attachment? Are you able to bring knowledge to parents about child development? Are you able to build social connections within your classroom? Are your students able to have social and emotional learning in your classroom? Can you teach parents parent resiliency, or can you offer concrete supports like breakfast when they show up late in the morning? Like a care closet that might have hair bows and tennis shoes and underwear and socks, those kinds of things. Okay, so you're gonna tap for 1 minute and you're gonna identify which one of these 6 can you most do in your natural educator way. Go. Good, thank you. So we've kind of talked about how prevalent trauma is and how trauma can be the cause of those big reactions and big feelings. And so when we have that context, that understanding of the why, then it helps us as we're addressing the behavior. So trauma's effect on our student emotions, and I love this from Diversity Kids, beneath every behavior, there is a feeling, and beneath every feeling is a need, right? So behavior, feeling, need. And when we meet that need, rather than focus on the behavior, we begin to deal with the cause and not just the symptom. So I love helping kids learn this themselves, right? And teaching them about their very own brain. Because we understand that the brain has kind of 2 different levels. It has a downstairs and an upstairs. So the downstairs part of the brain is that base and the limbic part of the brain, and that's responsible for a lot of those unconscious behaviors, right? The breathing, the blinking, and the feeling, right? The lower level, the downstairs part of the brain, its number 1 job is to keep us safe. Then we climb up the stairs into the upstairs part of the outer cortical brain. And this is responsible for our students' choices. So all of their decisions, all of their focusing, all of their learning. The upstairs brain number 1 job is to do the thinking, right? But when we have sort of this overtake of the reptilian region controls all of those very natural feelings, right? So sort of those unconscious reactions. Then we flip our lid. So I teach our kids that brain region at the base of the brain is the one that reacts to danger, right? Or trauma. And if those students sense danger, they're gonna be reactive. Whereas, and I love this quote, by working to implement a predictable, safe, and stable classroom, you're building an environment that will help children move their thinking into the upstairs part of the brain, and the more of the thinking cognitive regions, right? They move from the reactive lower downstairs into the thinking processing upstairs. So our limbic region is stacked on top, and it's the emotional brain, right? It helps people learn from their past experiences, regulate their emotions, communicate, make memories. But the amygdala can hijack and sound that alarm, right? Where they go into that trauma response. And we know those trauma responses to be 4, right? It can be flight, where they want to run away, get away from something that they feel is dangerous. Freeze, where they really don't feel like they can do anything. Fight, where they're reactive, right? Remember Nathan kind of hitting from underneath the church pew. And then fawn, this is my own personal trauma response, where I'm a people pleaser, and I want so badly for everyone to be happy with me that I don't set up personal boundaries. So I want you to think about your body. If you can flip over your M&M sheet, just flip it over. Okay? And you're gonna draw a stick figure. Ready? You're gonna draw a head. Actually, make it more of like an outline. A head, arms, and legs. Okay? This is an activity you can do with your students. And this comes from Trauma-Informed Compassionate Classroom. And so I want you to think for a moment, and you're thinking, when I feel stress, when I feel in danger, when I feel reactive, where do I feel it in my body? And I want you to circle, is it your stomach? Do you feel it in your hands? Do you feel it in your feet where you want to run away? I feel it in my throat. My throat gets really tight. Okay, take a minute, circle those indicators of reaction. And once you're done, I want you to tap for 1 minute and share with your partner how this stress impacts you and your body. This is physiological reaction to stress and trauma. Ready? 1 minute, tap. I love telling kids, God made your body. He built these responses in to protect us. This is God's protection system for you. And He's signaled all of these different ways physiologically to let your body know that it's unsafe, right? So we have to look for those clues. We almost have to be detectives with our body and clue in on those signals God has given us. So I love this video, and we'll watch it together, by SEL Sketches, and it's a really great one for you to use in your classroom, so I'll go ahead and let you watch it. And again, it's the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain at an elementary level for them to understand.
Your brain is powerful and strong. It helps you remember that 2 + 2 = 4, makes you blink and breathe without even thinking, and even helps you play your favorite video games. But it's so much more than that too. Your brain has 3 main parts: the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. It also has 2 sides, a left and a right, 4 lobes, the frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital, and then each of these lobes can be broken down even more into areas that have specific jobs. Yowza, that's a lot of pieces. Let's see if we can make it a bit easier to understand. You can think of your brain kind of like a two-story house. In this house, there's an upstairs and a downstairs. The upstairs and downstairs brains both have very important jobs. Your downstairs brain's job is to keep you safe. It is responsible for things like breathing, super strong emotions like anger and fear, and watching out for danger. The upstairs brain's job is to help you think. Yep, that's right. Its job is to help you problem solve, learn, and make good decisions. A house wouldn't be a home without people inside, right? Your brain has some characters in it that play a really important role in what you're thinking, feeling, and doing. Let's talk about the characters in the downstairs brain first. Down here, you have alerted Annie. She lets us know if there's danger nearby. Angry Albert, he responds really quickly with, you guessed it, anger. And frightened Fred, he's pretty much scared of everything, but it's because he wants to keep us safe. Then there's the boss. This is Big Boss Bob. His job is to take information from Albert, Annie, and Fred and react. There is no thinking involved. He just listens to them, and if they say danger is nearby, he acts super fast. Bob does this in 3 different ways: fight, flight, or freeze. Your upstairs brain has some characters in it too. Up here, you have problem-solving Patty. She helps recognize problems and come up with solutions. Calming Carl, his job is to help us calm down when we're upset. Flexible Felix, he allows us to go with the flow. And focusing Frank, he allows us to pay attention and learn. All of these characters don't act super fast. It takes time for them to stop and think before doing anything. Any house with an upstairs and downstairs has a staircase that connects them, right? So does your brain house. We need both the upstairs and downstairs brains to work together. When the brain's staircase is built and strong, our characters can move up and down the staircase to share information. This allows the upstairs brain to try and make sense of strong emotions from Albert, Annie, and Fred, and to try to figure out how to help. But it's not always that easy. You see, even though your downstairs brain is done being built when you're born, your upstairs brain is under construction until you are in your mid-20s, which means your staircase can be kind of fragile as a kid. And Bob is kind of bossy, so when he thinks that danger is around, he may flip a switch to break your staircase in order to keep you safe, even when there's no actual danger around. Let's look at it this way. Let's pretend that you are out at recess. The sun is shining, it's nice and warm out, and you're playing with your friends. All of a sudden, a cute little kitten wanders on the playground. Annie, Fred, and Albert are gonna say, "Aw, look at that cute kitten." Bob will send a message upstairs to say, "Everyone, look, it's a cute little kitten." Bob doesn't sense any danger, so problem-solving Patty is able to stop and think about what to do next. Patty decides that you should probably go and tell the teacher that the kitten is on the playground. Maybe it's lost and your teacher can help get it home. Awesome. The upstairs and downstairs brain works together to solve the problem. Now, let's take the same day at recess, but add something different. Instead of a kitten that shows up, a giant T-Rex stomps onto the scene. Annie immediately goes over to Bob and says, Bob, we have a problem." Fred does the same thing, saying, "There's a dinosaur on the playground." Bob has no time to go upstairs so Patty can figure out what to do. Instead, he flips the switch to break the staircase and responds super fast by having you run away, flight, and hide, freeze, inside of the school. So clearly Bob is really good at acting fast to keep us safe. Unfortunately, your brain, and Bob in particular, cannot tell the difference between a hard question on a math test and a dinosaur on the playground, especially when Bob flips his switch to break the staircase. But guess what? You can make your staircase stronger by practicing calming strategies like deep breathing and learning how to relax your muscles. The more you practice these when you feel good, the more likely Bob is to respond to them when your feelings get too big. Trusted adults can also act as carpenters for your broken staircase, rebuilding each step to help Bob reach Patty and solve the problem together. Teachers and parents, for more information about the upstairs and downstairs brain, visit selsketches.com. And don't forget to subscribe to be notified.
So that's a great resource to use in your classrooms, and I like to teach them using my hand. Everybody hold up your hand. And you're going to take your thumb and you're going to put it kind of in the middle, almost where your fingers meet your palm. Yep, that's great. Okay, so we're going to hold up our pointer finger and we're going to say, "Hi, Flexible Phoenix."
Hi, Flexible Phoenix.
Flexible Phoenix allows us to adapt with change, and he is chill. He lets us go with the flow, right? Even when we don't necessarily feel like we can adapt. Okay, hold up both your pointer finger and the finger next to it together. Yes, like the number 2. Here we go. And everybody say, "Hi, Focusing Frank."
Hi, Focusing Frank.
Focusing Frank allows us to pay attention. We can tell him that he's in charge because you're following directions, you're being a good listener, you're an active student. Ready? Hold up your third finger. Say, "Hi, Problem Solving Patty."
Hi, Problem Solving Patty.
Patty helps us recognize when problems pop up, and she helps us brainstorm solutions so that we can choose the right one for our problem. Hold up your last baby finger and say, "Hi, Calming Carl."
Hi, Calming Carl.
His job is to help us calm down when our feelings get too big. And as a foursome, when we flip our lid, right, they allow us to come over that reactive bottom downstairs part of our brain and find calmness and peace. So that's a great way to teach your students. I also, let's try this QR code. Come on, Jesus. You're a good, good God. I have designed these classroom tools for you as educators so that you have built-in solutions as a school counselor can push into your classroom. I'm getting a thumbs up that you're accessing it, which is good. I will just show you a little tiny bit of Birdie, the Birdie video. This is accessible to you with a trial subscription for you in your classroom. Here we go. We're just going to do just a little bit. Hi, friends. Welcome to a Minute. This is a time where you, they're in your classroom, and I, as a school counselor, work on what can sometimes be the hardest things. During our time together, we work on ways to make your heart and your actions and your choices to mirror the heart of Jesus. I have a visitor here with me today. Her name is Bertie, the Birdie. Say hi, Bertie. She's excited to be here with you today. And I've invited her to come visit us today because she's going to be teaching us about our brains, right, Bertie? Now, wait a second. What? How can a bird teach us about our brains? Well, let's find out. First of all, talk to me from there in your classroom. Where does Bertie live? Where does she live? Birdies live in trees. Now, do they ever leave the tree? Talk to me. Yes, absolutely. Birdies leave trees, so we could say that Bertie, the Birdie, basically lives in 2 different places, right? Her home is both in the tree and then down on the ground. We could say that her home has an upstairs to her nest and then downstairs to the ground. Okay, so similar concept, 2 different resources for you in your classroom to teach your student about their brains. All right, so we've identified kind of the trauma impact and how prevalent it is, the trauma cause and how it impacts students' brains. And now let's talk about big coping strategies for your classroom. How to identify the cause of that emotional dysregulation and then how to manage it. I love this quote from Therapist Parent. Children aren't overreacting. They are reacting with the skills they have at the time, right? And it's our job as educators to build that skill set, build out that toolbox so they have new and better tools. My daughter she had a birth trauma. She was born not breathing. Many of you mamas can probably relate to this. She was not diagnosed until age 3 with cerebral palsy. And because of that, she had so much physical therapy, so many MRIs, so much blood work taken. And so when we decided, you know what, this kid has spent most of her life in a hospital, she really needs some socialization, we put her in a Christian preschool. And it was almost like a witching hour. I'd pick her up at 11:30, and if I didn't take her home right away, if I ran an errand, or if we did a play date, or if I took her out for lunch, she would flip her lid and just melt down. It didn't matter where we were, but she's resistant. She wouldn't get in her car. I couldn't buckle her in a seatbelt, all of those things, right? And so I always identified that as a tantrum. Until I started wrapping my mind around, no, this is a child who really has experienced some physical trauma. And so recontextualizing tantrums, which are intentional, they're controlled, the kid is frustrated, they're very aware, they're communicative. A tantrum versus a meltdown. And a meltdown is that dysregulation, that emotional reaction, feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes they can be unaware of their surroundings, sometimes they can be unresponsive. And those two, tantrum and meltdown, can look very similar, right? But it's important for us as educators to say, oh, no, wait. That's not a kid that's just forcing their own personal control. That's a kid who doesn't have control. That will change our language too, because then we start saying, rather than, and I actually work for a principal who is very much in this mindset of, if you are not behaving a certain way, it's because you're not self-disciplined enough. And so the language that I'm really having to combat with him, and he's growing and he's learning, but there's language towards students of, no, stop acting that way. Or if you continue, you're gonna get demerits. I gave you a warning, now you're gonna have to come to the principal's office. Or if you can't stop, I'm gonna have to call your parents, right? Kind of those threatening approaches to dysregulation, rather than saying your behavior isn't safe. It's my job to keep you safe. I can see that you're experiencing big feelings. What is your body telling you? And you might do a body scan activity just like you did on the back of your sheet, right? Tell me what your body is saying. Where are you feeling it in your body? What are some safe ways you get your feelings out? And then how will you know in the future when your body is starting to give you those clues? Remember, Jesus gave you those clues. So how can you tap in a little bit earlier so that you know you're starting to have those big feelings? So even changing our language to be more accepting so that students understand themselves and then understand that they have more choices, more positive choices. I follow a teacher on Instagram who I just think just does a beautiful job, and this is how she has introduced coping strategies into her classroom. We'll watch it very quickly.
Okay, so I had someone ask me how I introduce the calm corner to the kids and if I have any procedures set up where they can see that. Tomorrow is our first day of school, so tomorrow I will be introducing the Calm Corner to a whole new group of kids. I've got some tips and tricks to make it easier on you and hopefully make it run smoothly. When it comes time for me to introduce it, I'll be right here modeling how to use it. I have a list right here that just has a few reminders for them. We discussed that we're only in there for 5 to 10 minutes. We're there to use our calming strategies, that tools are toys. We clean up after ourselves, and we tell the teacher if we need more help calming down. Now the tools, not toys, is a big one. And that is for all school supplies. Tools are there to help you learn. Toys are there for you to play with. And once a tool becomes a toy, it's not serving a learning purpose anymore, so you don't need to have it. Now, another tip is if you have a lot of fidgets to use as calming tools, you should not keep them all in there. I have mine in this basket right up here, and I figure out which fidgets help best for which kid, and they will eventually be able to use the one that works best for them. Putting them on there one's just going to be play free for all, and that's not what it's for. During quiet reading time for the first few days of school, I allow the kids to circulate through. I show them how to set the timer for 5 minutes, and they're able to go in there, enjoy, and explore the calm corner. They're able to use what's offered in there for now, and then I'll slowly introduce the other items. The most important part is making sure that they understand that this is not a play place. This is to be used as a tool to help them get through their day. Okay, so I had someone ask me how I...
So I said to my principal, hey, I think we need to have calming corners. Tell me how you think my principal responded. You are such a liberal. And so we did an hour and a half of talking, and finally I said, think about your own children. Is there a time when they were dysregulated? Now, he's got a 7th grader and a junior in high school. A time when they were dysregulated and they really needed a timeout, a break. Oh yeah, just this summer, my son, we had all the cousins over, and they were all younger, and they were like playing with his favorite toys, and they were hugging his video games, and I saw on his face that he wasn't doing well, and I said, hey, Alex, why don't you come in Mom and Dad's room, turn on your favorite show, just take a few minutes away from the cousins, and then you'll be able to go back. Bam. Okay, yeah, we can have calming corners. So sometimes it takes convincing, right? But I want to show you some of the calming corner strategies that I use, and then also some visuals. Like, calming corners don't have to be expensive, and they don't have to be elaborate. I love how this one is mostly made out of bulletin board paper. Most of us have access to bulletin board paper, and so they've just created that environment. Really, the intentionality of building in that special space, and it's not a play space, right? It's not a hangout. It's not whenever I feel like it. It's not, I don't want to do this worksheet, right? It's a place, and we are starting at my school to say, guess what? We're going to only make it teacher directed, because right now our students aren't tapped in well enough to know, okay, I'm sensing my self-regulation is a little off. I'm going to go and put myself appropriately, right? And so we're drawing strong boundaries around it so it's not misused. I love this wall. If you can see, it's got those sequins, which is a very tactile thing for those sensory students that they can just rub up and down on. This one I think is brilliant because all of us have that like metal, ugly filing cabinet in our classroom. And I think it's a great way to bring some privacy to that just little tiny space by using that filing cabinet area. Twinkle lights, a lot of social emotional learning books, which I will show you some of my favorites. There's lots of tools. This is a whole kit at Michael's right now that has all of the sensory fidgets. Again, that tactile carpet. These are just different material squares that are taped together. And then I love this idea, a mechanical shredder, so it's not battery operated, but sometimes your kids just need a purpose, right? If someone could hang my poster up, well, that would be a good purpose. But this is, go to your desk, it's not battery operated, and just give them stuff to shred, because sometimes kids just need to do and be active. And then again, right now, Target has a ton of calming corner items. And so lots of fidgets, lots of different tools. So right now, I'd like you to also think about what are some of those opportunities that we have at school that can bring self-regulation. So your handout has about 100 coping strategies, and I want you to tap, turn to a partner, take 1 minute, and identify 3 new skills that you would like to try with students. Ready? Tap. All aboard. Great. So this is a handout I actually keep in my office, which when kids come dysregulated, I have them choose 3 that they want to try right there in the spot. In the SEL sketch video, they talked about breathing exercises, and this is one that can be done in the classroom or in your administrator's office, right? Breathing exercises are a really great way for that nervous system to just calm down. So let's do a couple together, okay? So this is my favorite one because it's the one I can usually remember. So everybody get out their candle. Can I see your candles? Okay. Good, a lot of pumpkin spice out there, I think. Right, okay, and then everybody think about your favorite flower, and I want you to pull your favorite flower out of the vase. All right? So we're gonna smell our flower for 3 deep breaths when I say go, and then we're gonna blow out our candle. And this isn't any candle, this is a birthday candle, okay? So do you go, when you do birthday, no, how do you blow? Right on, girl, right? Okay, so that's how we're gonna blow. Okay, everybody ready? On the count of 3, we're gonna breathe in our favorite flower. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hold it. Turn your birthday candle and good, that's a really easy one. And the imagery is really important for kids, right? Because not only are they practicing deep breathing, but they're also doing some mindfulness of, okay, like I'm noticing things right in front of me rather than sort of being in my head. Let's do another one. Okay, so I want you to drop your hands down to your side. Yeah, all hands should be down. Okay, and I want you to pretend that you're a feather floating through the air. Ready? I'm gonna close my eyes because feathers don't have eyes. Ready? Here we go, and we're floating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, freeze. Okay. Now your whole body is the feather. Ready? And we're gonna move like a feather would. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and freeze. Good, open your eyes. Okay, so you get some body movement and they kind of reconnect with their calm. Last one, I love this one. This is the turtle, and I want you to think about a turtle going for a slow, relaxed walk, okay? We're just chilling, here we go. We're a turtle, we're just chilling. Oh no, it's gonna rain, quick, pull inside your shell, ready? Wrap your shell around you and hold yourself for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh thank goodness the sun came out again. Drop your hands to your side. Okay, and we're walking again. Slow turtle walks. Okay, so those are fun things that you can do in your classroom. And then there's also, I think this QR code will work for you as well. There's Alexis and her big feelings video that you can use in your classroom as well. And I won't take the time to show you, but this is about emotional regulation and how Alexis really gains control of her feelings. She is an axolotl. Yeah. Okay, last one is about you all and how big life changers you are, because you really help students combat the influence of trauma. This is a long quote, but it's a good one, and I want you to read it with me on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All of us, but especially children, need such confidence. Confidence that others will know, affirm, and cherish us. Without that, we develop a sense of agency that will enable us to assert, this is what I believe in. This is what I stand for. This is what I will devote myself to. As long as we feel safely held in the hearts and minds of the people who love us, we will climb mountains and cross deserts and stay up all night to finish projects. Children and adults will do anything for people they trust and whose opinion they value. And really, you guys are the life changers and the hope bringers to your classrooms. So what I love about, yes, are we getting all kinds of trauma? We saw it all lined up here. And yet the beauty is you with trauma-invested classroom practices can break down contextualization of cultural stereotypes. You can bring collaboration between students. You can empower your kids. You can bring safety and security to them. You can be transparent. Hey, I'm kind of having an off day as a teacher. Hey, I'm really feeling anxious today. And then you can bring peer support by helping their classmates support them as well. I love this teacher who really brings trauma-informed classroom practice into perspective, and we'll take a look on how she does it.
It's a new day with a new opportunity to make your world a better place to be.
About 15 minutes into class, we take a moment to just be present together.
Here we go, read it. Read out for 5.
I try to share with them something useful or some type of information that I wish I would have known.
God's right. If you have any stressors, suppressors, or anxiety, take with you today. I want you to let them know that you'll be with them later, and just throw them out the door or throw them out the window. Because all you gotta worry about right now is
It's not gonna be that bad.
That's right.
We have a quote that we all say together, which is,
It's a new day with a new opportunity to make your world a better place to be.
one of my biggest things that I try to remind myself of is that I'm teaching future humans. I'm not teaching test takers.
If I knew one thing when I was younger, here's what I wish I would have known. Emotions are a lot like the weather. And if you wait a little bit of time, it's probably gonna change.
Kids aren't computers and they can't be all analytics and all data all the time. And their emotional needs don't stop the moment they leave their parents' car.
So let's take a deep breath. You ready? Breathe in. Breathe out. The storm will pass and things will change. So it's up to you to give time some time.
They continue to have those needs and learning experiences throughout the school day. And so it's not only important that they learn science in my class, but also it's important that they learn how to regulate themselves and how to be a good human.
If you were mean to someone yesterday or made bad decisions the day before that, I forgive you because today with a new opportunity
To make your world a better place to be.
I love what she said too, that feelings come and go. Feelings come and go, and they may change as fast as the weather. And I always teach kids, feelings are neither good or bad. Feelings are just feelings. In fact, God gave us all the feelings. You did a feelings exercise when you first came in. Ways that you were feeling angry, ways that you might have felt sleepy, ways that you might have felt happy, right? God gave us all of our feelings. It's what we do with them that can either be good or bad. But feelings aren't good or bad. Here are a couple last tools that I love using as a trauma-invested educator. So I love these little stress balls that are fruit. These are at the dollar store, but I especially love them because there's some not good feelings right here. And I love talking about how the fruits of the Spirit, right? God calls us patience, kindness, tenderness, gentleness. I think just gentleness, not tenderness, but that can work too. Some of my most favorite books, so this is a great one. I feel like a lot of books aren't geared for boys, but this one is Moody, Moody Cars. By the way, I'm going to leave these up, so after this session, you're welcome to come up. And they talk about each different car has a different feeling. So a friendly car, a sad and disappointed car. So anytime that we can help kids recognize different emotions, it normalizes, hey, it's okay to feel sad or disappointed or angry. So many. All of you have probably heard of zones of regulation. This is a really great curriculum that can really be put school-wide, and it's a great way to help kids recognize where they are on a scaled spectrum, right? Our feelings might change like the weather, right? And then putting self-regulation into place using that. I love this one. Anytime I can find a Jesus-based one, it's really valuable to me. This one is two-sided, which is great, so you're getting 2 books in one. This is Wendy's Big Worry Knot, and it's especially addressing anxiety and how she feels it in her stomach, right? Remember, you did the body sketch? So she feels knots in her stomach, and she learns to conquer that anxiety and untwist those knots. It also talks about Ben's sunflower, and it has some growth mindset strategies, right? How he could grow strong like the sunflower. A couple more things that I love. There's all kind. You guys know Thinking Putty. These are really great. They're cogs. You can get them on Amazon. And what I love is it's kind of a STEM. What am I trying to say? Like it's a STEM fidget, so it's not just, I've got which I've got those two, right? All of those squeezies. But this one has different shapes that come with it. So you have to intentionally look at the shape and then make the shape using the cogs. So I love that one. Coggy, C-O-G-G-Y. When I worked in public school in the mental health department, they had a whole sensory room, right? And I was so envious of that for Adventist educators, foam padded walls and different mats on the floor. And I thought, oh man, wouldn't we kill for that as Adventist educators? And so one thing I have found is helpful is Friendly Cuddle. This is a hammock that can hang from your ceiling. And it's designed, it's not just any hammock, it's designed to really wrap around the child. And I think the body weight is I think it goes up to 80 pounds or something. So that's a way to really just hug them tight, because sometimes they need really that, and we as Adventist educators can't wrap our arms around it. So this does the trick. A couple more things. I love this one, especially for kids that are on the spectrum, because a lot of times, you remember Will from my story? Will, the 7th grader who shut down? He needed a way to be able to share to his teachers how he was feeling in order to communicate. And so this one is a flip book. This one's monster themed, but it says my moods and my choices. So a child could go and they could say, I'm feeling grumpy. But then on the back, they have 6 choices that child can do to cope with that feeling. So that child could maybe take a rest break. That child could have a snack. That child could do some kind of physical exercise. That child could hug a stuffy, or that child could make a silly face, right? So options for them that will help them eventually learn to build out their own coping strategies. My moods, my choices. My moods, my choices. And again, you're welcome to come up here and take pictures. And then finally, 2 more. This is Zeke the Boompa. And what I love about Zeke, right, because he's a plushie, but he's weighted. And he can give you a weighted hug. And he's big enough that older kids, I have high schoolers that will come and just hug on Zeke, okay? Oh, he's got 2 sides. He's happy and he's at peace. It's called a boompa. Boompa. And then this last one is Wanda the Worry Monster, which, Wanda, you have worried me all day by falling off my wall. But Wanda is a stuffy, and she comes with a worry poster, and you can put your name here as the teacher. But when kids have that anxiety feeling that they just can't shake, especially our younger kids who have separation anxiety, I have a diagnosed high anxiety level first grader, right? And so when his mom is sick, or when brother is out of school to go to a dentist appointment, his anxiety just shoots up the roof. And so Wanda can come along and he can write what he's worried about, and then he can feed that anxiety, and Wanda keeps it for him. So he can go throughout his day because Wanda has hung on to his anxiety. These are loaded with all my favorite things. I'll kind of show you some of the fun things that are in here. This is a great, I saw a classroom that each student had one of these on the desk. This is Turtle reversible plushies. And what I loved is this was a visual signal to the teacher of how the child was doing. So there's a happy side, so they can fold up in, I'm doing good. Or this one is sleepy, or a not so great side. And so without saying anything to the teacher, they can indicate, yeah, I'm not doing great. All right, so those are in each of the baskets. Another tool that I love is Seek and Find Bear. And what this is, yeah, it's a plushie, but it's got different objects to find in here. So again, we're encouraging mindfulness. We're kind of bringing them to the present, especially when they've been in their head. So each basket has that. Feelings books in here. These are great. You'll see these in Target. Have you guys seen these? The calming corner signs, and then the I am feeling dollar section, baby. Dollar spot, right? And again, walking the student through, okay, I can tell you're feeling big feelings. Show me which feeling you're feeling, because a lot of times kids don't know what they're feeling, but if they can point to it, they'll get some language around it. Okay. I love this final daily Celtic prayer, which says, and I think for us as teachers, we really need to know this. Calm me, O Lord, as you stilled the storm. Still me, O Lord. Keep me from harm. Let all the tumult within me cease. Enfold me, Lord, in your presence. And then I also claim Philippians 4, 6, and 7. And you know this. Do not worry or be anxious about anything, but pray and ask God for everything you need. Student crying under your desk, kid kicking at his friends. Always give thanks, and God's peace, which is so great we can't understand it, so great it transcends all comprehension, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Thank you so much.